Hey, what's good? This is Martin. In today's video, I'm going to be showing how to make orchestral melodies, how I make my orchestral melodies. I'm going to talk about the whole process and a few tips if you want to get into the sound. So yeah, I usually don't make cookup videos like this where I just open up FL Studio and I walk you through the process of making it. I usually make the melody first and then the video, but I'm going to try something else today. I haven't actually made a video like this yet. So I feel like this is going to be a long one, so let's just jump straight into it. A few things. The plugins that we're going to be using are going to be Omnisphere. I'm using Keyscape for the pianos. If you don't have Keyscape or you don't want to get Keyscape, it's okay. You can use any other piano. We're probably only going to use Omnisphere for the Keyscape. Probably the LA Custom C7 piano and the Rhodes. These are the two sounds. There's also another piano from Keyscape we might use, which is called Wing Upright. But besides that, yeah, we're only going to be using Omnisphere for pianos. And we're probably not. We're going to use Contact. So from Contact, we'll be using the following banks. We are going to use Albion Solstice and Albion Neo. And probably I might use some sounds from any or some of the Oliver Arnold banks, and we probably will use this plugin called Auras. It's a Contact bank. Fire, it's sauce. Like I'm literally putting you in for free right now. So the first thing that you should do when you're building orchestral melodies is begin with a piano. You might keep the piano sound, you might not keep the piano sound, but the piano as a sound, the piano as an instrument will usually orient you, like it will guide you and how your melody is sounding. Because sometimes when you start making a melody on a synth, for example, you cannot really hear the notes you're playing very well. Like you cannot really hear how they sound, if that makes sense. Like the piano, in my opinion, is the truest instrument to make a melody in, because the notes sound just like they should sound, so I always begin my melodies on a piano. And the second concept I'm going to talk about later is coherence. I'm going to talk about coherence later, but why don't we just jump straight into the piano roll and start making our melody. So one thing I'm going to be using, this is present after FL Studio 20.8, if I'm not wrong. I'm using FL Studio 24, the 2024 edition. But if you're using an FL Studio after 20.8, you will have this option, and it's called auto scaling. You can come right here in this little musical note thingy. You right click and you can select the scale you want to be working on. And I always select automatic, because if I play three notes, for example, C, E, and I don't know, like B flat, it automatically detects which scale I'm working on, and it highlights on white the notes that I can play. And it's pretty cool. It saves you a lot of time. You don't need to be thinking which scale you're working or not. So yeah, I'm going to be using that. And the second thing is that I have the notes in Spanish. So do would be C, re would be D, mi would be E, fa would be F, sol would be G, la would be A, C would be B, and then do again. And I have the sharp set to flats. So this right here says mi bemol, which would be E flat. So for reference, the note that's hit lit on gray, that's C. So when do we begin making a melody? I usually have a different process to making this, but the one I usually follow is just layering down one root note like this, like A. Maybe not A. I'm not really feeling A, but let's see F. And we can just try like a chord progression. That sounds cool. We could work with that. And once I have this like root notes, these chord progressions laid down, the following thing that I do is I just start layering top notes until I get like a melody I like, The most important thing is getting, like a sense of melody. Most of the time when I start writing these melodies down, I don't have anything in mind, so I just play notes until I hear something that catches my attention. So I'm gonna do that basically. I'm just gonna click random notes from the scale that I'm working on, which thank you FL Studio is high lit on gray, and see what we can come up with. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun. Dun, dun. So just try to get like a sense of melody, you know? Now, the most important thing for you is to have like good ear music wise and just like follow what your brain is telling you to, you know, when you're making music, most of the time you hear a melody in your head, you know, just follow that idea and see where it leads you. Let's take the BPM down a little bit. There are no rules, so you can just like really place notes in awkward places where you wouldn't put them usually, and just, yeah, again, see where it leads you. There's nothing but trial and error in this process. We can take the velocity of the notes down, which will make the piano sound softer, like this. And we can start adding some top notes, you know, to have some more rhythm and melody to it. Like, it sounds really delicate, you know? There's some, I don't know, it's like, this melody sounds very soft. I really like that. We copy it over. I usually layer my root notes this way, so it sounds deeper and like, it has a more intense feeling to it. We can copy, you know, these accent notes over here, over to the copied version that we made. And now we basically have the foundation of our melody, which is this MIDI right here. It looks pretty messy, it looks complicated, but it really isn't. We just made it in what, like 4 minutes. So the next thing that we need to do is start adding our sounds and actually make the melody. So far, we only have a MIDI. Hey, what's good? This is Martin, and I forgot to say two things during the video that I feel like are very important. And the first one is that if you're watching this right now, by the time you're watching this, I have dropped a loop kit with 44 of my orchestral ambient loops. These are the best loops, orchestral ambient loops that I've made in the past year. I've handpicked them all, including the loop that I have made in this video, which I really like. So if you're interested in loops, if you want to step up your production game and you want to get some new loops, there's 44 of them linked down in the description. It's going to be on sale for the first 3 days of the drop. So if you're watching it right now, it's Sunday. It will be on sale until Wednesday. So you should run and grab it while you can on discount. And the second thing is that I'm sorry for the absence in videos. I'm sorry I haven't been posting way too much stuff. I kind of hit this mental roadblock where I had no idea where I wanted to take this channel. I didn't know what I wanted to do with YouTube. I didn't know in which path I should continue in my career. I was like self-doubting a lot, and it's like I would record videos, not like them, never post them. And I've kind of it's been a long road, but I've kind of figured out what I want to do. I'm going to try to post at least one video every week, and I'm going to try to live stream at least once every week. So if you're watching this just now, it would be a good time to just hit the like button. That helps a lot. It shows my video to more people, and subscribe. So yeah, you'll probably see me next week with a video again, and this week on a live stream. Some day it might be Monday, Tuesday, I don't know when. But if there's any specific type of video that you want to see, that you're interested on, please comment it down below, because it really helps. Sometimes I don't know what people want. And join our Discord server. It keeps on growing. It's a lot of people. I want to start doing cookups there with people from the Discord server, but I need more people to join so we can make it like a pretty neat community. So yeah, I hope I didn't take too much of your time, and just keep on watching the video. Enjoy it. The loop ended out coming out crazy, so just keep on watching it, and I'll see you soon, bro. So here's where the first big concept comes in, and that concept is what I call coherence. And what I mean with coherence, so one of the best ways that I've found that you can glue your melody together, that you can make it so that, because one very big thing on these orchestral melodies is for the instruments to sound like a band almost, you know, like everything is being played together at the same time, like everything is matching in harmony, if that makes sense. And the way to do that is with coherence. And what I mean with that is that all your instruments should be of the same family or category, you know, like if you're going to be using violins, you don't want to use a reese bass to make a bass. You want to use a cello, or like a very low string violin type thing, you know? And the same applies for, like, I don't know, if I want to make like a phrase melody, you know, like a counter melody, I'm not going to use a synth. I'll probably use a pizzicato violin or something like that, you know? So that's what I mean with coherence. You need to have some relationship between the instruments that you're using. So the next thing that we're going to do is start layering melodies, you know. I was talking to Sopil a few days ago. He's a producer, a very talented guy, and he was telling me about the way he layers textures, and you know, I kind of related to that. You know, it's a chaos, but it's a beautiful chaos. So you want to have your own beautiful chaos, you know. So the first thing that I usually do is I come into Contact, and the first plugin that I always, you know, go to is Albion Neo, the strings A, and I just open it up, and the first thing that I try is moving the MIDI that I just made to the string. So quick tip to all producers watching this. One thing that I do a lot when I'm making melodies is transposing my melody back and forth so I can hear how it sounds from many different angles, you know, because sometimes you transpose a melody down 2 semitones. And in case you don't know, transposing is when you take a melody and you pitch it down or up. And so basically you move all the notes 1 semitone up or down, and a semitone is basically a key, like a note, you know. I don't know much music theory. It's honestly not my thing. Everything I do is by ear, so I might not be explaining this in the best technical terms. But from somebody that doesn't know any music theory to somebody that maybe doesn't. These terms might be more like understandable than the very technical music terms. So what I'm gonna do now, which I usually do, is I pitch it down. So let me pitch it down twice. So 1, 2 semitones. Nah, that doesn't sound good. I think I would like to keep the piano. So once I have defined, okay, will my main instrument be the piano or these strings? I'm probably gonna do the piano. Now we need to set the violin. So this is, again, the same process as the piano, just layer downs as you think they will sound good. There are no rules, you know? Just let the creativity flow. We can copy and paste this over. So when you make these melodies, you usually want to build a lot of tension. You feel me? Like you want to bring out emotion. So one thing that you can usually do is notes like this that are one semitone apart from each other. They create a lot of tension, you know, especially when you play the two of them at the same time, you know, like, I don't know, let me see where I'm located in the keyboard. So this generates a lot of tension, especially so you can play with things like that to bring out a lot of emotion from the melody, if that makes sense. One thing that I usually do to my pianos when I'm making these kinds of melodies is I will grab an EQ. Any EQ works for this. You solo out the piano. And I'll usually bring up the EQ a lot on the high end. And why? Because when you're playing the piano very subtly, very quietly like that, sometimes you lose a little bit of the detail on the high end. And for example, this preset from this piano from Keyscape, it has a lot of white noise to it, and you can bring that white noise, like you can make it sound louder by EQing it on those frequencies, you know. And I don't know, I just feel like it gives the piano a really subtle warming sound, you know. I usually add a delay as well. The one that I love and swear by is delay tape 201 by Arturia. So I usually sync it, I put it on 1/4 ping pong, and then I put the preamp on the last option, this one right here, and I don't mess much with it. Maybe the width a little bit, the rate offset. I will take down some of the bass, or actually I'm gonna put it up, take treble down a little bit, and it's very subtle, but it sounds a tiny bit more beautiful, you know? Let's begin working on the bass. So the bass, you could do two things here, all right? You could just go on your packs folder, look up a Reese like this, and then just wait 10 minutes until FL Studio decides to stop loading, and use any type of typical respace, it will not sound bad. In fact, most producers that try to make these melodies, that's what they do. You know, let me see if I can find any res over here. Yeah, this will do good. So most producers, they will just come out of respace. I'm gonna turn off loop points, ADSR very quickly. You know, this is not supposed to be complicated. And they just come in here, they do this, they copy the root notes over, paste them, pitch it up 1, and I want you to hear what happens now. So that doesn't sound bad. But now what happens if we grab the same root notes and instead of using a respace, we use a string? So we just come into Albion Neon again, or any string plugin, and you still get that low end impact, you still get that low end energy, you know, you still get that bass, but it sounds coherent. Like everything sounds like it's just like a big bunch of instruments being played together rather than, oh, that's a bass, you know? And that's what I meant with coherence. One thing that I also do, I always do this, I come into Albion Solstice, the cassette orchestra, the classic preset, and I copy the root notes I have here into this other string, and now I layer it down like this. This one adds more of a string noise, and this one adds more of a bass sound, if that makes sense. So now, naturally, we need to have a top melody. We need to have some sort of counter melody, anything. And the first thing I'm going to try is I'm going to try to add a string melody. So I love this preset, the short pizzicato one. You can use this to create more tension and like add subtle details. So I usually do staircase melodies like this, just to like, it kind of tells the listener that something's about to go down, you know, like something's gonna happen, like I can hear this melody, and I don't know, building melodies like this usually adds a lot of tension to your melody. You can do a little staircase like that on the volume of the notes, and then just let me turn up the volume on the strings. And I want to take these higher notes and just pitch them down a little bit like this. And it's just about layering, you know, when the melody is done, you're gonna know it's done. But in the meantime, you can just keep on trying out concepts and keep on adding stuff to see how it would fit in on the melody. And at the end of the day, we're making a loop. So if the person that's gonna hop on the melody doesn't want a certain specific type of sound, they can take out those elements of the melody. So let's try adding woodwinds. So the most important thing when you're making these types of melodies, again, is like you almost want to tell a story. You know, it's like it's very hard to explain it. I don't have a method, you know, I don't have a process, but usually I'm trying to tell a story, you know. It's like I'm trying the melody. Once I started the melody, once I have a set direction, it's like I make it so that everything heads in that direction. So I'm trying to build a lot of tension, make a really emotional melody. So to these melodies, like these little details we're adding, like these woodwinds, I usually add delay to them so that it doesn't cut as dry in the areas where they're not sounding. So treble up a little bit, no, bass up a little bit, treble down, a little bit of width, rate of set, intensity a tiny bit up, 1/4, dry wet, yeah. And I'm gonna probably add like, it's interesting. You know, I've got to that part of the melody making process where I want to add something else, but I'm not completely sure what. So, let's try pads from Auras. I'm gonna probably add this one, Light Leak Soft Pad. I love this pad. I've used it so many times. Let's add a Rhodes and see how that would fit in, you know? Because at the end of the day, because we haven't layered down the melody, like we haven't done the whole breaking each, like, what would be like, there's a term for this. Like we haven't structured the melody, so at this point we're just adding sounds to add sounds, and then we'll see if we even use them or not. So now a Rhodes would definitely not fit in here. Let's add a brass, and we'll leave it at there. And we could, just to wrap it all up, we could add a vocal, you know? So for vocals, you can record your own. So if you're good at singing, you can use Arcade by Output, you can use Splice, or a Contact Bank series that I use a lot are these by Heavyo City that are called Vocalize. So Vocalize, super recommended, I love it. First we need to check what scale we're in. So right now it's G minor. So right now we're gonna go into Vocalize, right here, vocalize, phrase menus, and we see we have one for F sharp minor. So we pull it up, bring it one semitone up, and now we just try to find a phrase that sounds good within the melody. So now that we have all of our layers separated, you can just come right here, pattern 1, right click, split by channel. We're gonna do a little bit of structuring. So we're gonna have an intro, you know, like the whole melody, and then an outro. So the intro is probably gonna be just the piano. So you can just cut it like this. And then we can just move everything over here. Let's see how it sounds. And this should be the intro. So that would be your full melody. We made this in like less than 30 minutes now that I think about it. But yeah, I didn't talk much about the whole structuring process, but usually the way I think of it is, you know, you have the intro right here where you're like getting prepared for everything to happen, go down. And then over here, you have the whole main part of the melody where the whole emotion is built up. And then you have the outro where, you know, it's like the aftermath. And usually in the outro, I take the main components of the melody and just let the components that haven't gotten enough attention be heard. So for example, this brass that we have over here, these woodwinds as well, we have these pizzicato strings, we have the vocals and stuff. I save those for the outro. Like these are the main characters of the outro, but here the main characters would be the piano and these strings. So that's the way I think of it. And you know, I usually just also layer it down like this, so the person that hops in the loop, they can just take out the stems and figure out which parts they like and which parts they don't like, and they can, you know, kind of customize the melody, if that makes sense. You know, like they can just take out the parts that they don't like, keep the ones that they like, and everybody's happy that way. So yeah, that's been it for today. I hope you guys liked it, and if there's anything specific that you would like to see in a following video, I don't know, any type of sound, any type of tutorial, any type of thing, any kind, you know, just leave it down below in the comments. Make sure to subscribe and like the video, and I'll probably be live streaming tomorrow or Tuesday on YouTube. So if you're watching this just now, stay tuned, and I'll see you very soon. Thank you for watching.